This is examples and musics for objectives 1.33 and the next few objectives. Objective 1.33 says, identify the compound time signatures of 6-8, 9-8, 12-8, 6-4, 9-4, 12-4, 6-16, 9-16, etc., and explain what the top and bottom numbers mean. From the learning resources, you should have a good understanding of this by now. Let's look at some pieces that utilize these time signatures. In this Vivaldi piece, it is in the time signature of 12/8. Therefore, the beat unit is the dotted quarter note. The 12 indicates it's a quadruple meter, so we'll have 4 beat units per measure. Here's a piece by Tchaikovsky. It is in 6/8. The 8 indicates that the beat unit is the dotted quarter note, and the 6 indicates that it is a duple meter with 2 beats per measure. In this piece, the beat unit dotted quarter note will go by pretty slowly. This is the Prokofiev's Piano Sonata No. 1 with time signature of 12/8. Again, 8 indicating the dotted quarter note is the beat unit, and 12 indicating it is a quadruple meter with 4 beat units per measure. Objective number 1.34 says, properly beam 8th notes and 16th notes to reflect the beat unit in compound meters. When beaming instrumental music, we beam to reflect the beat, and we try to keep those beats separate from each other in terms of beaming. In this Vivaldi work, the time signature is 12/8. The beat unit is therefore the dotted quarter note. This measure starts with beat 1, and in these violin lines, we see that there are 3 8th notes beamed together, reflecting each dotted quarter note beat unit. So here's beat 1, here's beat 2, here's beat 3, and here's beat 4, and the beaming lets us clearly see that. In the solo violin line, we see in beat 1, 3 8th notes beamed together, 2 16ths and 2 8ths make up all of beat 2, and they're all beamed together, and then it follows consistently. In this piece by Tchaikovsky, we see the same sort of beaming. In this piece by Prokofiev, we also see the same sort of beaming, with one exception. On beat 1 of the second measure, they've elected to keep this very first 8th note as a single flag. This is a musical phrasing idea decision rather than a notation decision. These accented pitches that are going down in a descending manner are kind of all about the same idea, so the composer elected to break it here for that reason. It does not affect how it's played. While visually it might disrupt what we see as group 1, on the other hand, visually it does clearly show the intention of the function of this note in terms of phrasing with these notes as opposed to these notes. Objective 1.35 says, identify the correct compound time signature given one measure of rhythm and which note value is the beat unit. So for this Prokofiev piece, the dotted quarter note is the beat unit of this piece. If the dotted quarter note is the beat unit, then we know it's some sort of compound meter because all compound meters have a dotted note as the beat unit. That would also tell us that the bottom note is 8. Then we can count up 8 notes to tell us what the top number would be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this piece is in the time signature of 12/8. Furthermore, we can look at the beaming to be a clue as to what the beat unit is. In this piece by Tchaikovsky, if I were to tell you that the beat unit is the dotted quarter note, again, we'd know it's in compound meter. We'd know that the bottom number of the time signature is 8, and we can count up the 8th note units to tell us the top number. There's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. So this would be in 6/8. Objective number 1.36 says, identify the difference between a chromatic half step and a diatonic half step. You should know that a diatonic half step has different letter names, and a chromatic half step involves the same letter name. In this piece, I have a D going to a C sharp. And this would be an example of a diatonic half step because we have a note that is some sort of D, we have a note that is some sort of C, and they're half step away. Flight of the Bumblebee, we see both diatonic half steps and chromatic half steps. This written D sharp to D natural is a chromatic half step. This C sharp to D is a diatonic half step. This B natural to B flat is a chromatic half step. This A to G sharp is a diatonic half step, and this G sharp to G natural is a chromatic half step.